Te rau kawa kawa, te mōngara o hoki oi. Hoki oi, te tāpū. Hoki oi, te awa. Hoki oi, e te manu nui o te rā. Hoki oi te manu. Hoki oi te ariki. Hoki oi o Muaupoko. Tie Māori ora hi. So this is a space station. It's the top of the North Island, and right at the very point there is Hokioi there. So on my journey, I take you to this mountain range. In the backdrop of the Hokioi. I'll get this range. It's basically where I climb to. What's this peak here? That's the Puke. That's Maunga. Te Ariki Ona Maunga. Te Tararua. Back into the hood. This is a close-up look to my whare. Te whare o Muaupoko, te tangata o te whenua, te tangata ahika, te tangata Māori ora hi. This is my family, home, their lands. As you can see, there's barely a man-made structure as far as the eye can see, untouched, unblemished. Keep scooting around, and then we start to get to the town centre. Yeah, that's it. All the rest is wilderness. So, where does a person who lives like this go to get away from it all when you're already away from it all? E hoki oi te manu nui, o kapati te pinua. E hoki oi te manu nui, o te rā. Hoki oi te mana nui, o taranaki te maunga. Kia ora koutou. I'm just here on Hokioi Sands. Just want to explain a little bit of the next phase that I'm going to be going through in terms of this set of goals that I've put up for myself. And I wanted to particularly talk about the mental toughness and where does that come from. It's not a very well explained science, it's psychology. People are still trying to understand the mind of the human being. And I can only talk on my own experience about how I've, I don't know, on average, have got a mindset that enables me to do things that not everyone else is into, and that's cool. So my mental toughness, in part, is borrowed, and I mean that I borrow from my historical background and the type of journey my peoples would have had to have made leaving the islands for whatever politics, whatever resource issues were going on at the time, to sail across the ocean and land here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. And there's no easy feat given what resources they had available to them and the sheer distance that they needed to navigate. They really knew what they were doing, but that required some imagination. In my mind, moving on from imagination, this is the beginning of the root source of where mental toughness comes from. Yourself as an individual having a vision to go out and activate an outcome. and in this case we are looking to physically challenge ourselves in a way that either hasn't been done before, which then makes us more explorers than anything, or to better ourselves or better the best time that someone else has created, and that's all cool. But you need to create a mental a mental challenge comes, and that's for many people where the question starts, and that is for many people where those questions finish. A lot of it is to do with their imagination and the ability for the mind to visualize the task at hand, the work in the background that's required, the whole process of being able to finish a goal that you conjure up. And it's no different whether you're a cook, a bodybuilder, or an airline pilot. You've got to have enough imagination to be able to think away, how am I going to make this my goal, and how am I going to best achieve it. And that's it really, that's the imagination side of things. The mental toughness comes in when you are in the middle of it all and you get into a mental block for some reason, and many people have different triggers and can go no further with that mental block. It can be a disabling part of a person's nature, having one come down to either a factor of fear or a factor of the fear of the unknown beyond that point at which there is no return. And fear can drive a lot of innovation, but can also prevent and be a prohibitor as well in the nature of man's advancement. So the mental toughness draws upon a lot of emotional stuff that individual human beings experience. In short, I'm impervious to having been exposed and having traversed some interest and stuff that really challenged me, and I continue to do that, and I'll continue to do that all as long as it needs to be. But at the minute, I need as much visualization about jumping into that ocean and swimming it to train to jump into some fresh water and swimming that in deep water. So where does that come from? And that comes from, again, like say my peoples. They saw challenges in front of them, they attacked them stage by stage with a plan to execute and come and complete, and absolutely complete those tasks. And that's how the human advancement has become such a great anomaly on the surface of this earth, is because we do not know our limits, and from that comes extraordinary outcomes. So back on to the subject of sport training, endurance swimming. You would have heard that one of my goals found out that one of my goals were to swim 5Ks across the face of Taupo from Wharewaka over to my land block, Painotiako. It's roughly a 4 to 5 kilometre swim, closer to 3 kilometres on those other two. What you're looking at here is my homeland's ocean, my people's ocean, the ocean of the community now. This is where I'll base a principal amount of my training. I'll be ocean swimming. I've sailed this coast, I've swam this coast, I've kayaked this coast, I've fished this coast. This coast is where my people sailed from the islands, and they arrived from this direction. They populated this particular beach as well as a number of other beaches down, and as they progressed further up, they populated those beaches. My peoples very, very early came inland and started to move across this landscape to meet up with the inland Ngāi peoples and Katamamui peoples. One of those peoples were light skin, ginger haired, darkish in complexion, but still light skin by comparison to how dark my skin is. And the Katamamui people were more close to negroid Africanpithecus with tight curly hair, just to describe the differences between the two peoples. One was reddish hair, brownish auburn. The Naitaha peoples, they came from, that is the sun there, they came from that direction. The Katamamoi peoples, long before my peoples arrived here, the Katamamoi peoples, they came from, get past Taranaki, more or less that direction, but correctly more geographically that direction after they've gone around the head of Taranaki Peninsula. This is the Great Taranaki Bight, and then from way out there we start to head into the Muaupoko or Te Ika Nui o Maui. This is the land of those people who settled the head of the fish by the famed adventurer, explorer Maui. I can give you that kupu about how we tied directly back to him from these peoples here. Right now that's not important. What we want to do is talk about ocean swimming, and without a joke, this is going to be my training ground, so that once I've done Taupo and completed Taupo in freshwater, I'll then have the capacity, I'm pretty sure, to be able to swim from Kapiti, it's gone blurry, back to the mainland. It's a 7 kilometre push, and it's only shortened by knowing the direction of the tide at the time. Why would I do that? Well, I've done it already. Why would I do it again? Because I can. It's in my imagination. It's in part of my makeup to keep connected to those homelands in which Te Piropiro, Te Hinga's great-grandfather, chose to settle on there and pass away, so his bones are up there, and that's a whakapapa connection closest in my family line, and we also have a number of other whānau that are buried up onto that island. I've sailed there, beautiful sail. I swam across from the other side, back, scary, interesting experience. You can trust the dark shadows floating underneath you. If you can get them head past them being there in the first place. The ocean's really settled today. It's a beautiful looking day. Couldn't really ask for more. And I should actually be in there now, but what we're doing is we're just taking it all in. Kia ora.